I recently came back from a trip to Barcelona, and one of my favorite things to do whenever I go on a trip is to take a run around the city or wherever I am. And running around Barcelona reiterated to me, or kind of reinforced in my mind, the idea that the fewer cars that a city has, the better the city is. So the less car infrastructure a city has, and the more non-automobile infrastructure a city has, the better the city is in my mind. And the reason is that um, you know we need cars. Obviously, we need cars and vehicles to like trans deliver food and transport transport furniture and heavy equipment and things like that, and to do a lot of the work that needs to be done. You need a vehicle for. But as a way of moving people around within a city, a car is a pretty poor way of doing it. Walking, cycling, subways, buses, these trams, these are all better and more efficient ways to move people around in a city. Now, cars are very good for going long distances and quickly transporting things over long distances. So outside of a city, cars are pretty useful. But inside of a city, they just cause congestion. They're slow. They're inefficient. They're just not good. So I found a lot of interesting things about Barcelona when I was there, and it's very apparent when you look at the satellite images of Barcelona that something is a little different about this city. It has a very interesting history because Barcelona dates back to Roman times, and this Gothic quarter, there's a like kind of a oval area right here, and this represents the Roman city. And then if you zoom out a little bit, you see this area right here. That is the medieval city. There were walls around here, and then be in the mid to late 1800s, there was a plan to expand the city because it was getting way overcrowded. The conditions were not very sanitary. There was a lot of disease in the medieval city. And so they wanted to expand the city out to the countryside. And if you look at this part of Barcelona, it looks very different and it looks very uniform. And this is the work of a guy named Serta, who was kind of one of the fathers of modern urban planning. And he designed a city that would be very egalitarian. So he wanted all the blocks to be exactly pretty much the same in that they were all limited to a certain height. So they're all I forget the exact height, but they're not very tall. Maybe I think 5, 6 stories at the most. And he designed very, very wide streets, extremely wide for the 1800s, because he thought that there would be like personal locomotives, which are cars and carriages. And another very interesting part of his design, he has this chamfered design at the corners. So instead of vehicles, or in his time carriages, making sharp right turns, you could make kind of rounded turns when you make turns around this, and so that improves sight lines at intersections, and it's a pretty cool design overall. But the kind of important thing that I found out as I was running around is a while back, Barcelona decided to take out a bunch of these streets and essentially remove automobile traffic from them. Now, automobiles and vehicles can go through these streets that have been transformed, but they are limited to 10 kilometers per hour, which is, I think, or 20 kilometers per hour. Very, very slow, like basically the speed of a slow moving bicycle. So cars are no danger to pedestrians when they're going that speed. And and it's very narrow for cars, and cars have to kind of weave around people and benches and things like that. So cars can still access it to like deliver furniture, deliver heavy things, and to do repairs, that kind of stuff. But no person who drives a vehicle is going to purposely take this road as a way of getting from point A to point B. And what they thought would happen would that it would make traffic a lot worse. But there's a thing called Bray's paradox, which says that adding more capacity does not improve traffic, and taking away capacity can sometimes increase efficiency of a street network. And that kind of reminded me of this other thing that happened when I visited Korea. There is a stream in Korea called Cheonggyecheon, and it used to be this it was an old stream that ran through the city, and it was kind of a little polluted. So they decided just to put an elevated highway over it, and the stream ran as this like very dirty little gutter underneath this elevated highway. And I think in the 1980s or 1990s, they took out this highway, and people threw a fit because they're like, how are you going to remove one of the major highways through our city? It's going to make traffic a nightmare. And they turned it from this into this. And you can see these pictures. Here's the elevated highway, and now it looks like this. And here's the exact same part. You can see the buildings look the same. Here's the elevated highway, and now it looks like this. And this is now just a very beautiful park, and it's depressed under the street level, so it controls for up to a 200-year flood, because it could flood all the way up to the top of the embankment. And it's a very nice space for people to utilize. And it's like a park that runs through the city. And the businesses fought against this, especially the businesses along this road, because they thought their business would die. But businesses have flourished in this area, and biodiversity has gone up, air quality has gone up. Um, the heat around that area has gone down because less concrete, less heat island. It's just been a big win overall for this thing. So taking out car traffic, and car infrastructure has worked out very well for solar, and in my opinion, has worked out really well for Barcelona, because you have these um, beautiful kind of basically roads that have been turned into parks and pedestrian ways and places for people to sit and eat and hang out and enjoy the city, basically. So I wish that America would be more friendly, but we are so car centric in the US that it's hard to kind of envision this kind of thing. But if you travel to other places, it's very nice to see car infrastructure being removed, because I think in a city, infrastructure for people is way more important than infrastructure for cars. So let me know. Have you guys ever been to like Seoul or Barcelona or any other city that's taken out car infrastructure? Tell me what you guys think in the comments below.